Your health is your wealth. Is it just me? Or is it whenever you wake up in the middle of the night and you want like a little, midnight snacky snack, for some reason you are like always craving sweets, right? I had a coworker this past weekend that baked like this huge tray of chocolate chip cookies for everybody, and she brought them in, and there were only like a few extra because we pretty much went through that tray that night. I think that's all anybody ate that night was just chocolate chip cookie after chocolate chip cookie, and she had 5 left. So she told me, she was like, I am not taking these back home because if I do, she's one of those coworkers who has like a long commute to work. I never understood people who did that. But some people, well, I guess I understand now. Let's just say back in the day, I never understood people who would drive like 45 minutes, an hour and a half to work. I'm like, why would you even apply to a job that's that far out? And they were like, because the better paying jobs are in the city. And I was like, well, yeah, like I know that, but like, why don't you just move to the city? And they would be like, no. And so like, like not as we get, but as the economy has gotten into the state that it's at, like I get it. Like people want to live out further in the country where like it's cheaper, but they want to work in the city where they can make more money per hour. So and they were like, basically the only setback is the fact that you have to drive an extended distance to work every day. But you really get to maximize your money by doing that, by living in the rural, cheaper areas. You get to maximize your income by doing that. So like, I totally get it. But anyways, this coworker lives further out. She drives over an hour to get to work every day. So she was like, if I take these back, they are not going to make it on the ride home. She said, especially because we work night shift. She said, get off. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. She said, I'm probably going to stop, get coffee, and these cookies will not make it on the way home. So she gave them to me. So they're in my refrigerator. And yeah, I'm one of those people, I put my sweets in the refrigerator. I like my cookies crunchy. I don't like the ones that are like fresh baked and they're still soft. I like mine crunchy. Like I like them to have a crunch to it. I'm just different like that. So I put my stuff in the refrigerator. And that's like the first thing I was heading towards. But instead of eating that, I think I'm going to record this instead. Because I was walking a few laps the other week. And this message came to me where it's like, your health is your wealth. And I was going to stop and do a recording then. But I was trying to get in some extra laps instead. And I was so out of breath. I was like, I know people are not going to want to hear me breathing all hard into the recording. So I just waited, and as I was getting ready to eat those cookies, I was like, let me just go ahead and do this now, right? But anyways, the message that came through, right? And it's like I'm glad sometimes that I wait, because sometimes I really get on myself about waiting, because I'm a big procrastinator. But sometimes in procrastinating, like things change. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I get on myself because I'm like, oh, I need to stop procrastinating. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do that. Especially when it comes with making decisions. But I'm also the type of person where I make haste decisions if I'm moving too fast. So my procrastination, although most people would think of it as a bad thing, my procrastination has actually saved me so many times because things will change. Certain circumstances, things will happen, and I'll be like, oh man, if I would have made that decision to do that weeks ago like I wanted to, I would be stuck right now. So I'm glad I did decide to hold off and give it some more thought, but also in the same time, giving things more thought and procrastinating has also been my detriment. So it's like my gift and my curse, right? But anyways, I'm glad that I waited, right? Because the message that came through, I have this video that I watched today that really kind of like just added a little extra onto it, right? But anyways, the message that came through was like, Spirit has big blessings coming in for you, right? But they need you to be more proactive in order for these blessings to come in. And as I'm saying, procrastination, the message is you need to be more active. But for someone specifically, right? I'm hearing like somewhere out there, Fido from American Tell, your ancestors are saying that you give up too quickly, right? They're saying that like there are going to be times where we do things, or when things don't happen the way that we like. There's someone specific where your ancestors are like, you are very meticulous in how you do things, right? And if things don't work out exactly the way you planned, you just tend to give up because you're like, oh no, things are not going right. Let me just go ahead and exit stage left right now. But your ancestors are telling you to be a little bit more flexible, right? Because sometimes things are going to change. And sometimes they're the ones that are actually moving things around in order to, in order to make things easier down the line. But you're just going to have to endure this like uncomfortability, you're going to have to be uncomfortable. I was trying to make up a word and I can't even talk right now. You're going to have to be uncomfortable for a little while in order for things to be easier down the line, right? And your ancestors are saying that like you're giving up too soon. Like you literally are giving up, not knowing that like the finish line is just past that last hurdle, right? But your ancestors and your guides need you to know that you are ready. Like these blessings that they're trying to bring you, if you are thinking that, oh my God, I'm not ready for it. If you're thinking like, oh my God, I have to do this. I remember talking to my brother the other day, and he's very, very, very charismatic. And I was telling him, I've been telling him for like 2 years now, like, and he's the type where he doesn't have issues with public, like, whereas me, public speaking is like, it's like, it's hard for me, which is why I prefer to like do these recordings. He loves public speaking and he's good at it and he's very captivating. And I was telling him like, sir, like you have the gift of gab. You know what I mean? You have like a silver tongue. And I don't mean that in like you have it in like a good way. Like when you talk, people listen. And I've been telling him like, yo, like you need to do something where you're doing either motivational speaking or doing some sort of platform. But I said, you need to do something where you're like speaking, because that's what you're good at. I mean, he wanted to go to school to be like a communications major. But my dad told him no. My dad was like, I'm not paying for that. And let's not talk about how like sometimes parents kind of alter their children's destiny by being too hard and too judgmental and by wanting to pick their children's careers and majors for them. My brother wanted to be a English major and he wanted to also be like either English or communications, and my dad was like, no, like you need to do something like business or something like that, like something different. So my brother went ahead and did what my dad told him and is now like miserable in the job that he has, which is like similar to me. I wanted to go to school to get a degree and something other than what I got my degree in. But my mom was like, no, like your strengths are math and science. Why don't you stick to your strengths? And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes like we use our strengths as a safety net, right? And this is like, I'm going all the way off topic because this is not even what this is supposed to be about. But this is just going to be like a little quick FYI for somebody out there that I'm getting like, you need to hear this message either for you or for like your child that's getting ready to go to school. Sometimes we rely too much on our strengths as a safety net. Like, yes, math and science are my best subjects. Yes, they are my best subjects. Yes, I do very well in them. So I ended up getting a degree in biology, and I ended up going down that, path, down that sort of path, instead of getting the degree and what I wanted to get, instead of going with what my passion was. And I ended up getting a degree. And not that I don't like what I do, like I'm actually very good at my job. I always get great evaluations every time. People are like, oh, my job never gives us above, meets the standards. I always get exceeds. I always get that. Like people were like, oh, my job never does that because they don't want to give us raises. Like I've never had a problem with getting an annual raise for getting exceeds standards on my evals. So I'm very good at what I do, but this is not something that I want to do long term. And I think being good at what I do is the only like little bit of satisfaction that I'm like holding on to, because this is not really what I want to do. I just kind of went with my strengths. So for someone out there, like your child may have strengths in a very specific subject matter, but their interests may be somewhere else. Let them explore their interests. Let them explore their interests. And if you're worried about, well, how are they going to get a job with that? Sit down and have a conversation with them. Like, hear them out. Sometimes, children will make more sense than adults if we think about it, right? Sit down and hear them out. You guys can sit down and come up with a plan. Let them tell you what it is that they want to do. Like, they want to get a major in English. Okay, and you're thinking, well, what are you going to do with that? Well, let them tell you what they're going to do with it. Let them tell you where they want to go and what they want to do next. Stop making decisions for them, because like the level at which Americans, and not even Americans, just period, especially with like millennials and Gen Z, and now you got Gen Alpha coming up, the level at which people are dissatisfied with their jobs is too high. It's way, way, way too high. Let people explore their passions. Let people explore their interests, right? But back to the subject, like for somebody, your ancestors and your guides, right? They need you to know that these blessings that are coming in, you're ready for them. Like I said, this is someone who feels like they still have they're like, oh, well, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to get that degree. This is someone who is like chasing degrees and chasing titles and chasing certifications. Your ancestors are saying that you're ready for your blessings to come in right here and right now. Like you are as ready as you're ever going to be. And they're saying like, in order for you to get more ready has nothing to do with you going back and getting these earthly degrees and certifications. Now, I'm not trying to steer anybody away from anything. If there's something specific that you want to do, that's your passion, that requires you to get a specific degree or certification in order for you to do it, go for it. Because if it's going to lead to you being happy, and if it's going to lead to you doing something that you really inspire to do, then do it. But if you're just getting another degree just to have it, if you're going back and getting a master's or going back and getting a PhD just to simply say you have it, there's no need for that. There's no need for that, because the blessings and the increase that you're looking for as a result of doing these things, your ancestors are going to bring in for you. But they need you to start focusing on your health, right? They need you to focus on your health. They need you to do things to pass these challenges that you're going through. They need you to go ahead and I'm hearing like get over that hurdle, because the wealth that you're looking for to come in is directly tied to your health. I'm hearing like take your time back. Take your time back. You're spending too much time doing all these things for all these other people and not enough time doing the things that you need to be doing for yourself. You're not spending enough time taking care of yourself because you're so busy doing everything for everybody else. Start doing more for yourself, right? There was this video that I watched earlier, and that's why I'm glad that I waited. And he was this young guy. He was, from Canada, and the title of the video is "I'd Rather Die Than Work a 9 to 5." And of course, he's like exaggerating. He's not gonna like off himself because he doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to work, but it's so crazy how even like with me being a millennial, right? Seeing like Gen X, millennials, and then Gen Z, and now you got like Gen Alpha entering the workforce, and seeing the like difference in the and just seeing the difference in how the younger generations view working. And I hear so many, some older millennials, but especially Gen X, I guess that's the boomers, they call them, where they're like, this younger generation just doesn't want to work. They just don't want to work. These kids just don't want to work. No, it's not that they don't want to work. It's that they don't want to work their life away. Nobody wants to trade, all of their time and all of their youth into working for a company, working for a corporation, making somebody else's dreams come true, getting like these corporations are making millions and billions of dollars. Meanwhile, the average worker is struggling to get by. Like this younger generation sees a problem with that. And the older generation, I get so tired of hearing, well, back in my day, but those times are over. Like, sir, back in your day, when you got into the workforce back in the 1980s, the 1970s, the 1990s, you could still buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom house for less than $100,000. You know what I mean? Back in like the late 80s, early 90s, you could still buy a 3-bedroom, two bathroom house for less than $100,000. Meanwhile, your starting salary was like what, 25,000? Things were still reasonable. You have some jobs nowadays where starting salary is still like 35,000. Meanwhile, the average cost of a house is like $300,000. Whereas when you were working back in your day, the average cost of a house was 4 times your annual salary. Nowadays, the average cost of a house is 10 times people's average salary. I mean, we don't live in the same world. We don't live in the same economy that you used to. And people just do not want to spend all of their life and all of their time working just to still struggle. Like the trade-off is not worth it. Whereas, middle class people back in the day, well, I remember even my parents being an 80s baby, 90s kid, even my parents were, living very, very, very well, as middle class. We're living extremely well. I'm talking about, we used to take vacations. We used to go on cruises. We used to travel. We used to do all of this stuff. And my parents had a house, all of that. And I'm talking, this is like after the divorce. This is not even like my parents when they were married. This was after the divorce. My mom had a house. Well, she did for a little while. My mom and my parents were military. So my mom was like, there's no point in paying all this for a house and having to move house to house. So we just ended up doing apartments until she retired. Then she, her and my stepdad bought a home. But my dad has always had his house. And even when he's traveled, he has just traveled and lived in apartments, where he was TDY, permanent change of station. But then he would always, eventually he would take a promotion and would move somewhere and then would come back to his home and then would move somewhere else to get another promotion, then would come back to his home. So he always had his house, whether he was always in there or not. He always had it. So I'm just like, we don't live in that sort of, environment and economy anymore. So hearing this young man do this podcast about he would rather die than work a 9 to 5. And like I said, of course he was exaggerating. It's very heartwarming to see young people finally get it and finally understand, because he mentions one part in the podcast where he said he makes 30. He was very open about like his income and all that stuff. He said he makes $30 an hour, and one of his friends from school works at I think he said for Parks and Recreation or something, and makes $24 an hour. And he said the only difference in their paychecks when they get paid every 2 weeks is like $25. And he was like, because he, making that $30+ an hour, he's entered into a new tax bracket where they've taken significantly more money out of his check. So even though he's making more money, his checks aren't that much higher. And, it took me years of working and trying to do all this overtime and doing this and that just to make, a couple extra dollars come on my paycheck, only to sit down and be like, you know what, I'm tired of trading my life for a paycheck. It's not even about time. This is my life. I'm getting older. This is my life. This is my health. I need to sit down. This job healthcare can get stressful. Healthcare can get that's why you have nurses walking away from the fields in drones. It gets stressful. And people are starting to realize sacrificing your health, physical, mental, emotional, is not worth a paycheck. It's just not worth it. So he just mentioned that he wants his time back. That his time to him is more valuable than a paycheck. And I was like, you know what? I came to that realization a year ago when I left my full-time job to go part-time in January of 2023. Because I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this rat race. I am tired of it. I cannot do this anymore. So I sat down and I figured out my bills, and I had to cut out a lot of luxuries. I'm a coffee coffee person, coffee girl all day. So yeah, I can't get my Starbucks and stuff like I like to. I got to make my coffee at home. But you know what? That's perfectly fine. Does it taste the same? Absolutely not. But it's perfectly fine. It still does the job. So I did have to cut out some luxuries to get down and say, okay, these are my bills. This is how much I need to make in order to pay my bills. And yes, I have, $50 a month that I have for like play money. This is what I'll use, and I'll just, treat myself, once a month to doing something fun, And so I sat down and I calculated. And then once I went part-time, I was like, yo, my paychecks are so much bigger than what I thought they were. Like, I was actually able to squeeze a couple, like not all of them, but I was able to squeeze a couple of luxuries back in there because I forgot when I was doing my calculations, I forgot to account for the difference in tax bracket. So like, just like he said, how him and his friend are making, they have like this difference in pay, their paychecks still look the same because he forgot, you have to account for, not he forgot, I forgot, but you have to account for the tax bracket. So my paychecks ended up being much more than what I calculated them out to be. And then once I, started looking, I had some coworkers when everyone started leaving the old job, and I've already done videos about that. Everybody started leaving. We started being short-staffed, and I was like, yeah, I'm only working a couple of days a week, but it's back to being stressful because we're literally working at like 50% staff. We were at 50% by the time that I left, and, I don't know where they're at now. I really just don't care, but one of my coworkers was like, hey, well, come over to this job. They have a weekends position, whereas most people do not want to give up their weekends. I have no problem with giving up my weekends and working weekends if it means that I can be off. Like, whereas most people are like, I do not want to work weekends. I would rather just work Monday through Friday and be off Saturday and Sunday. Like, you're bugging. You're bugging. Because I would much rather work Saturday and Sunday and be off Monday through Friday. Like, you are bugging. If to you it sounds better the other way around, like what, we are not in high school anymore. Like, there is nothing like at this age. Now for the younger generations, yeah, I get it. But at this age, there is nothing popping on a Saturday and Sunday because most people my age and older, Saturday and Sunday, you're just sitting at the house or doing the errands that you didn't have time to do Monday through Friday. So if you sit up here and tell me that, yeah, I'm only working half the hours, but I'm getting all this additional pay because what, I'm working the off diff, which like most jobs, because I've heard people say like, yeah, I work night shift, so I get an extra $1.50. One thing about working for the hospital is that the shift diffs are a lot better. They're a lot better, right? It's almost like a $5, like literally a couple of change, a little bit less than $5 for the shift diff from working days to nights. And then you couple that with the shift diff of working weekends, like the amount more that I get paid for working weekends is worth, cutting out the 40 hours a week. So by the time I add all the differentials and stuff, I'm still, matter of fact, I'm making more. Because the job that I left and went to, they offered me more per hour for my base rate anyways. So I'm making more to give up my weekends and be off during the week than I was working Monday through Friday and only having Saturday and Sunday off. So like I really resonated. And that guy was so young. I think in the video he said he was like 21. Like, this guy is so young, but I'm still so happy to see the younger generation get it. Like, yes, you are in your youth. They keep telling you like to grind, go hard while you're young. No, enjoy your life while you're young, sir. Enjoy your life while you're young. I'm so tired of seeing people coming to the hospital with back problems at the age of 25. I'm getting tired of people coming to the hospitals with problems with their knees at the age of 28. Like, you are young. Why are you breaking your body down? Y'all, you know what's crazy? How they've been saying how, like, the generations are starting to look older. Y'all seen that guy, Jordan Stallion or whatever? He's like the secret food guy or gives the food recipes. The guy looks 40 and he's in his 20s. You too young to be that stressed out. You're too young to be that stressed out. So Spirit is like telling you, like, take your time back. Because there may be, especially if you work in healthcare, I'm getting like, look for positions and like, do what's best for you. You know what I mean? Like, if you have, children who have to go to school during the week, and if working weekends means now you have to find care, like, do whatever is best for you. But I'm hearing, like, find a job and find a schedule that gives you more of your time back. And I understand that that's not going to work for everyone. That's not going to be everyone's reality. Everyone is not going to have a job where they have those kind of opportunities. But if you do, take advantage of them. Because I would not trade my time for anything at this point. Even though I lucked out and found something where I worked less and make more, even if it were I worked less and made less, I would still take that over trading my time and because I'm like, I want to focus on my health. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting in my late 30s. I'm 37 now. I'm so close to 40, and I'm at that age where, like, they're like, yeah, if you don't really take care of your health at this point, then you're going to start having problems sooner rather than having them later in life. And I don't want that. So I have to put me first. You know what I mean? And if you have the opportunity, put you first. Put you first. It's time for you to put you first. So take your time back. If you have the opportunity to, take your time back. Take your time back, right? For someone, I'm hearing like Chase, get that certification. There's someone out there who, like, you want to get a certification that's going to allow you to go into a field where you may have, like, I'm just like massage therapy. I'm hearing for someone for massage therapy. Masseuse, you go get you a nice massage. And if you go to like one of these nice massage parlors, it's like $75 for an hour. And it's not even a full hour. Really, you're paying $75 because the hour sessions are really only like 50 minutes hands-on by the time you do the pre-work. And then you have to like change back out and get out the rooms, and they can take on the next client. But still, like, some of these masseuses are making $75 an hour. You go to some of these luxury places, you're talking like $100 an hour. Imagine giving somebody a $50 massage, a 50-minute massage, and, well, you won't get the 75 because you still have to, pay the stuff and the rent, the room, and you got to, pay this and that, and they're going to take their cut. But imagine getting like $60 an hour. You know what I mean? Versus doing whatever job you're doing now where you're literally like breaking your back. So for someone, I'm hearing, get that certification. There's somebody out there who there's a trade that you're looking at, but you're like, I don't know if I want to go back to school to do this. Do it. I don't care if it's a 1-year certification, a 2-year certification, a 9-month certification. Do it. Because some of these trades are paying more than what a lot of people with degrees are making. So, like, go for it, especially if it's something where it's going to give you more time. If it's something that is going to give you more flexibility of schedule, like, go for it. Go for it, right? But y'all, this message was not intended to be long at all. It was supposed to just be short, but because I go off on these tangents, I end up, starting here and ending up way over there. But the moral of the story is like, you need to start focusing on your health. For somebody, it might be your spiritual health. For somebody, it might be your mental health. For somebody, it might be your emotional health. For somebody, it might be your actual physical health. But there's something about your health that you need to be focusing on and that you need to be more proactive about. And by taking the time to be more proactive about your own personal health, Spirit is going to flow these blessings in. A lot of people are worried about what's going to happen in 2025. And I'm telling, like, I can't speak for everybody because, like, depending upon where you are, mentally, where you are, 2025 is either going to be rough for you or it's going to be, I'm talking, an overflow of blessings. And I know for me, it's going to be blessings. I'm not even going to sit here and speak anything less than that over my life. 2025 is about to be an amazing year for me. It's about to be an amazing year for me. Now, I know some people who, if they don't get their SHIT together, it's not going to be so amazing for them. But, that's neither here nor there. I can't force somebody to do something. I can only tell you or give you advice, and you can take it or you can leave it. But your life is your own. But I'm telling you, focus on your health. Get your health. Whatever it is that you need to get in order, there's something that you need to be working on that you need to get in order. Get it in order now. Get it in order now so that you can make room for these blessings to come in next year, right? But y'all, your health is your wealth. That's the message for today. Thank you for listening. Bye.